Sunday afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the cluster. It is time to navigate through this giant cluster. You know what? I'll be live with you in just 1 minute. So in the meantime, please feel free to support the channel by subscribing and giving this video a thumbs up. Oh, wow. It is Sunday. Again. I can barely believe it. Welcome to the clusterfuck. I'm going to get in trouble for saying that every time. I need to come up with something else. Like, I wanted to do if I'd had money, my ideal would be to take that Thunderstruck song from AC/DC and turn it into You've Been Clusterfucked. Like, for my theme song, that would be fun. But I realize I have a little bit of a mission here on the Sundays, which is, and it seems people like this, is to point out sort of spiritual leaders and who they're connected with. And on this show, we're going to be talking about Epstein. Not that he's a spiritual leader, but he's in the rage. Everybody wants to know about it. The files have been released, and I'll give you my philosophy on it, of course. I'm going to present to you some evidence. I mean, there's just so much. I'm writing down names, and I've got tons of stuff, tons of images. So we are going to cover him first. And then we're going to get into the Moonies and TPUSA. And I think hopefully by the time I'm done, we'll see how all of this cluster fuck is connected. Either immensely and knowingly connected, or some kind of subtle 6 degree of separation. And I mean, that really is the point of this show on the Sundays. I'm doing a different show. Let's put some background music. Let's do some chill hop. I want to chill hop as we come in. I'm doing a different show on the different channel. It's called at Breaking Ground 50. I don't know if I put it. It's on the main channel. I have it as if you scroll down towards the bottom, you will see that it's on there where you can go and subscribe to the channel. It's very different from this. I upload footage. I just uploaded one the other day. I'm talking about why I came from Canada to Utah, and I was on a little hike out in the middle of a nature preserve. So it's going to be more stuff like that, and I'm going to talk about how I'm getting old and what I'm doing about it or not doing about it, or am I accepting it? The wrinkles on our foreheads, like right over here, and I just found this hat, by the way. I really like it. I think it's my husband's, but he hasn't been wearing it, so I thought I would wear it. See, my husband says, I like your hat with a hat. I think it's your hat, babe. I think this is your hat, and I think it's really nice. I found it while I was cleaning everything and organizing, because I like to organize. But I like it. I thought, oh, wear a hat today. It's Super Bowl Sunday. I don't think this is Super Bowl. I don't even know. Is this a sports logo? That's how out of it I am. Someone can tell me. It says LA. Is it like Louisiana, Los Angeles? I don't know what it is. What is it? Someone needs to tell me. I don't know anything about sports. That's why you'll never see me do Super Bowl. He says, it is mine. It's yours. It's like brand new. No one's wearing it. So I'm like, oh, I'm going to wear it on the show. It's a little big. It might be too big for you. I've got a big head. Like, I've got a large skull. So I've got to fit all those brains in there. The zombies love me. The zombies are like, woo, brains. Right? So anyways, I'm wearing the hat. The Dodgers. Okay. The Dodgers. Okay, it's baseball. Take me out to the ballpark. I don't know anything about sports. So that's why we're doing this show. We will get into Epstein. There's just so much. I couldn't possibly present it all to you. But I've got actually an interesting conspiracy clip before we do. I've got an interesting conspiracy theory before we do. We're going to cover that first. Then we're going to get into the Epstein. Then we're going to get into the Moonies and TPUSA. And I think you'll find that it all comes back. It all comes back to Central Intelligence and, mind control and the needs of the elite and the rich. And I'm not going to pretend to understand it all. But if we pop to my website, I'm going to show you the Clusterf website. Here we are. We got Get Ready. Oh, and it's going... I did the poll. Some people said they wanted it at 4 p.m. Some was 7. Some was 8. We're going to do it at 5 p.m. Eastern on Sundays from now on. We're going to do it at 5 p.m. That means that gives me time to get things done on the Sundays. Sometimes my husband's here and he's packing. And so I'm not rushed if I get rushed, So that makes it like 3 my time, 2 on the Pacific time. I'm sorry if you're in London, that's like midnight. So if you're a late nighter over in England, my lovely UK audience, then you can join. Of course, it's got a listen now. So if you go to the listen now tab, it's all there. The Substack, we're on Spotify, we're on Apple. And of course, if it's on Apple, it's on a bunch more. And then the great part is about... And we got a mission here. We got to remember, we got a mission here. And remember, this is a blurb. I'm not going to read it. But I always say, observe, don't absorb. Observe what is. Don't let it become you. Realize you can choose what you become. You can choose to be afraid or not be afraid. And of course, my 3 big asks of everybody is don't go to the mass events. Don't wear their logos. As I wear a hat with a logo. I mean the evil. Like, I mean, don't wear the political logos and the churches and stuff. Like, if you wear a hat like this, it's not the end of it. And don't give them your money. These cults, these people. But, I've covered cults for a while. And I really outlined that in that little bio on the website. By the way, that is theclusterfuck.com. I can't believe I got that URL. What a miracle. And for a good deal, too. It wasn't even expensive. But if you go over there, all the links are there. I'm probably going to add another page that will talk about my alternate YouTube channel, Breaking Ground 50, where I am not as conspiratorial. But for the time being, there's just the 3 page. The most important page being the Listen Now page. It gives you all the links. This is where we're live streaming on YouTube, Substack, Twitch, and Kick. And by the way, Substack, I've not taking any subscriptions right now, and I've put it all for free. So most of the articles are accessible for free. So if you go over to that Substack, and the URL has changed, if you go over there now at clusterfuck.substack.com, there's lots, the podcast is there, but there's lots of free articles, spooky stuff, everything there for you to read, clusterfuck.substack.com. And I don't know, who knows, maybe in the future someone will want to show up and write clusterfuck articles, and they'll all be there. So there you go, it's over there. Now, the first thing we're going to talk about right now today, it's Super Bowl. That's not starting for a while, so that's why I did it at 2 o'clock instead of 3, avoiding the Super Bowl. And then we have Super Bowl halftime, and then we got TPUSA telling everybody to watch the TPUSA event instead of the Super Bowl. So it's up to you what you want to do. I recommend you come over here and say at least hello to me for a couple of minutes before you go and get the breads for circuses. Because once I go through a lot of this stuff, I don't know how anyone can watch this stuff. I don't know how anyone can do it. Uh-oh. I'm wearing an MK Ultra hat. The Dodgers were tied to MK Ultra, according to Kathy O'Brien. Should I turn it around? Should I go like this? So, oh, see, it's right here, the Dodgers. Yo! Shit. So I'm wearing an MK Ultra hat. I gotta get a hat that doesn't have any MK Ultra on it. You know what? Here's the thing. I think it's all infiltrated. I think it's gonna be hard to find something that isn't infiltrated. I do believe that. It's going to be very complicated. God help our souls. All right. Let's get into this one clip before we get into Epstein, because Epstein's going to take up a lot of this. And of course, I always have to say allegedly, because we don't really know if what Epstein, we can't say just because somebody was mentioned in the pages doesn't mean they are a part of anything. They could just be mentioned in reference. They could be mentioning these people because, they've seen an article or they don't like them, or, it doesn't necessarily mean something. But obviously, the more they're mentioned, we can kind of take that as a hint to keep kind of looking in that direction. But there is an interesting case out there today.
And
let's pause this. This is the Nancy Guthrie case. I want to turn the music down here. It's time to turn the music down. The chill hop. This is the Nancy Guthrie case. Her mother has gone missing, and someone has come up with a little bit of a conspiracy about it. It's a little bit creepy. And they make the comparison of Nancy Guthrie and her plea to whoever has kidnapped her mother. And they make this comparison to what she's saying and the script from The Silence of the Lambs. And The Silence of the Lambs is a movie that was a favorite of mine. But the more I study MK Ultra, the more I'm like, I don't know what's going on here. Anyways, we're going to turn this volume up. Make sure you guys can hear this. This is Nancy Guthrie's emotional plea to the public to help her mother. And then they're going to do a comparison of this emotional plea to a clip from Silence of the Lambs.
And in the same tone and everything. So I went and I found the movie clip, and I have the clip of the press conference yesterday. I'm going to show it to you in just a second. And what I found odd, other than that, is after the line is said, the way that Savannah just pauses and kind of looks at the camera. So here, take a look at the video.
She is full of kindness and knowledge. Talk to her and you'll see.
Catherine is very gentle and kind. Talk to her and you'll see.
Okay. When I saw that, I thought, what kind of strange timeline are we in? Like, what's going on here? Where that is so, like, is it because we watch these movies and we just say them unconsciously, or are people writing the scripts and writing it from the movies, or is we're so connected, movies get mashed up into our language unconsciously? I don't know, but that is really weird. It's like, are we watching Silence of the Lambs? What's going on here? Is this real? Is it fake? Is this like some kind of psyop? Nobody really knows. Let's see that again. Let's watch that again.
The clip of the press conference yesterday, I'm going to show it to you in just a second. And what I found odd, other than that, is after the line is said, the way that Savannah just pauses and kind of looks at the camera. So here, take a look at the video.
She is full of kindness and knowledge. Talk to her and you'll see.
Catherine is very gentle and kind. Talk to her and you'll see.
Talk to her and you'll see.
Okay, once you see it, you can't unsee it. It's weird, right? I mean, is it intentional? Did the FBI help write her letter? Is it a signal? Is it a code? It's weird. I don't know. Tell me what you think. Drop your comments below.
Okay, you guys can tell me what you think about that, but I found that really weird. It's like, who wrote that for her? Did she write it? Is it unconscious? What do you guys think? You can tell me in the comments, but when I saw that, I felt like literally the Twilight Zone theme music was like do 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 do, like in my brain, cueing that something was really weird here. Like that's just bizarre. Are we, and it begs the question, are we all like these really weird templates that are programmed and we just grab thing out of some collective conscious and that's there and we just grab it? Or do are people so, you know, crazy? Like, is it all scripted and they just hand it or something and say, hey, say this? And of course, we know that a lot of movies are an extension and scripts are written by CIA, FBI. We know this stuff happens. So, what is it? Do they just go, "Hey, we're going to play out Hannibal Lecter in real life?" And it's a really crazy case. It's suspicious. They are investigating the sister-in-law's house. I think they're investigating her husband, and there was like allegedly blood found on the the doorstep or something like that. There's blood. There's a bit of blood found somewhere, and she's missing. And of course, isn't it in Arizona? There's so much shady stuff about Arizona. In fact, Arizona, the university there is mentioned thousands and thousands of times in the Epstein files. And we know Fort Huachuca, TPUSA, military. We know there's lots of scamming going on. There's lots of stuff at the border with the cartels. And Angel Over says the whole realm's running on a script. I think they like recycle stuff. They just have this stuff sitting in there in like a big lottery bin, and they shuffle it around and they pull out papers like Cards of Humanity and they just pair them together. And they're like, what are we going to say now? Kirby says, will you keep talking about vampires? Absolutely. Because usually what I'm going to do on the Sundays is I'm going to have, instead of having 3 shows during the week, I'm going to do like 2 or 3 hours on the Sunday. So I'm going to bring up vampires, and one of the reasons is this Epstein stuff. Remember I brought up the adrenochrome. That stuff is still coming into play. So actually I should get you guys for free that PDF if you want to go check it out. But yeah, Kirby, we will be talking about vampires. We'll insert it in. I want to get some vampire cults on too, if I can, on the Sundays, because it's just something there where I've been researching cults. So it's something we should talk about, and we should talk about real spirituality and independence and actualizing your own self without having to join any of these crazy cults as well. But we will be talking about vampires. I just was like, I don't have time to do it all week. So I'm like, let's just all put it in on the Sundays. I also, next week, we're going to be talking about Ram Dass. So Ram Dass, so maybe part of it, I'll do some vampire lore or bring up some interesting topics in the second half. And then I want to do a revisit of Jim Jones. We need to go with what we know about TPUSA and the Faith Division and what I know about the Moonies and the CIA. I think we need to go revisit Jim Jones again because it's spooky stuff. It's crazy spooky. So we will be definitely doing vampires. It's not out of the question at all. It's certainly a fascinating topic. And the world is a vampire, as Smashing Pumpkins would say. I'm humming it in my head. I was going to sing it out loud, but I don't want to scare you guys. Okay, so we got to move on to Epstein. And look, there are tons of channels out there that you can go to and look at Epstein and check out what's going on with him. I don't want to necessarily rehash everybody's stuff, but I am going to cover a few things. I mean, it's basically where the hell do you start? right? So we're going to go back here and I'll play some video footage.
And
We're going to show you guys and we'll chat about this here. I've got, it's quite long, so I'll pause it and do commentary. We've got a little reel about all the files and pictures, so it's going to go through a lot of pictures and it's going to focus on people. But remember, we've got a list of so many people. I couldn't possibly get to them all, but we'll probably cover like Trump, Musk, Bill Gates, Clinton, Deepak Chopra, Mormon Church being mentioned, perhaps Mr. Beast because he's linked to the Mormon Church. Who knows? Richard Dawkins, Woody Allen, Noam Chomsky, just crazy amount of people that were mentioned in these files. And we have to say allegedly. We cannot say that that means that they're guilty, but in the context of certain things where they repeat words like pizza and grape soda over and over again in suspicious context, I mean, I don't know what else we're supposed to think. So let's check this video out here. I'm going to turn the volume down. I don't want to get copyright on this. So this is the Epstein files, and they're going to show you pictures. And they're going to go in and they're going to zoom up, and we're just basically, I'll talk while they do this. They're just going through all these pictures of him and pictures that are in the files. It goes for about 5 minutes. So I will chit chat here while we go into these pictures in the pool. There are some graphic pictures, and I'm not going to put these ones on, about Epstein. There's old Bill Clinton. About Epstein with children. I'm not going to put those on. There is also a couple of pictures out there saying that Epstein's alive. And I'm not sure if it's legit. A lot of people saying it are, but a lot of people have said it's AI. So I'm not including them in this one right now. A lot of people believe he is still alive, and he very well may be. But there was something too hyper stylized about the pictures that made me uncomfortable. So I don't want to put them on as evidence that Epstein's alive. He could very well be. Now, some of these are nothing burgers, but it just shows their links to very famous people. And it just goes over it, sees them at big events, sees them with major people. I haven't even mentioned, Epstein's links to Prince Andrew and through the British Parliament. There's only one person right now being investigated. I can't remember his name. This girl mentions him. He was in with the Tony Blair government or something. He's actually being investigated right now about this because he had some interesting ties to Epstein. And remember, the royal family is doing damage control by tossing Prince Andrew out. Don't ever forget that Prince Charles, who is now King Charles, had that disgusting pedophile Jimmy Savile in his inner circle for decades. From the 60s on, he was a disc jockey. Not only was a pedophile and alleged to be murdering children, he also was a what do you call it? Where they like basically sex with dead people. What do you call that again? He would volunteer at the morgue as a porter so he could have access to the dead bodies. That's how twisted this guy. And King Charles had this man, Jimmy Savile, in his inner circle for decades, giving him marriage advice with Princess Diana. These evil, evil people. So when you see King Charles trying to, control what's going on with Prince Andrew, just remember he's just as sick and psychotic. Like, he's linked with some sick, twisted people. Angel Lover says there's a lot of new stuff for them, but it could be another huge distraction. Absolutely. And I'll get to that at the end when I go through a lot of things. This is just going to go on and on. But when you've got all these characters, everybody always thinks that the elites are harmonious all together and they love each other. And that's just not true. And I talked to my husband about this. And one of the things, Angel Lover, that I said is there is not just a war on us to decrease the population, and I mean, where do I have that here? That I have somewhere that Bill Gates. This is something that Bill Gates actually talked with Epstein in an email. Is about they don't say help the poverty not be poor. They say like basically get rid of the get rid of the impoverished, like get rid of them, not help them not be poor. Like this is on the agenda. But not only do they have a thing against us, they're going for globalism. And so they are fighting with each other. And when you see stuff like this being released en masse, there's someone unknown way above that's used all these people up. Their time is coming to an end. And I think there's a play behind the scenes where there are elite people who want to get rid of certain factors, or they've played these actors, they've played it out and they're going to phase them out and consolidate power. We've seen this before throughout history. We have seen this in World War One. We have seen this in World War II, where both sides are funded by the same banks and villains behind the scenes, and then they just get rid of them. They basically, these guys are not good people. And when you keep company with corrupt, evil, pedophile, oh, Mick Jagger, woohoo, there was one of Mick Jagger. Isn't he awesome? But anyways, when you keep company with these kind of people, nobody is a loyal friend that loves you. They're all using each other for something. They're all slaves to some sick, crazy, twisted shit. And I just got this sense of my higher kind of intuition. I'll call it my higher intuition so no one calls me crazy. Told me months ago that there's a battle, not just of them against us, but within the elites to consolidate more power. That's where globalism is headed. Whoever is mentioned, they probably want to stain their reputation. Okay, so that one's done. We just did a little bit of a. And sorry, if you're listening to this on audio, you're gonna have to go on the YouTube channel and check that out, because it was just a visual that played back and forth of some of the people in the pictures. There is a really strange. Yeah, there's a battle always within the wealthy, and I've seen this before studying history in university, and they don't tell you the real history, but you can kind of parse it out that there is an inner battle. They give the official narrative. They might take out the Russian royal family, maybe they'll take out someone in France, and then next some other power structure. They take out governments all the time. And so for whatever it is, I feel like they want to take out some technocrats for sure. Bill Gates has played his cards. Elon Musk is being mentioned. Peter Thiel has been mentioned in there. Larry Ellison is definitely connected to this stuff. It is so bizarre. It's very bizarre, and there's a lot of people who think that. Let's see what we got here. That is one thing. Where was it? Those are for people who think he's still alive. There's some people who think he's still alive. We're going to go through some crazy stuff here. This is a picture of Jeffrey Epstein with Richard Dawkins. And the thing is so I got a theory. Richard Dawkins may have started out as a biologist who have good intentions, but when you get infiltrated and contaminated with these people, your work becomes contaminated. And I'm going to cover this when we talk about different cult leaders like Ram Dass. It's not that they started out not wanting to study spirituality or Eastern philosophy. It's that they get infiltrated by these agencies and their work gets put aside and they become slaves to the system. And it feels like it's like really beyond their control, especially if they start becoming popular or they are approached by the system. And next thing you know, they got a radio show and lots of numbers. Just think of all the podcasts out there. If suddenly I was getting millions of viewers, you'd be like, that's interesting. It doesn't necessarily mean it, but say I became popular for whatever reason, I would probably be approached. Like, hey, Melissa. Not so nicely. I'm sure it would not be so nicely. I'm sure it would not be so nicely at all. But there is, yeah, here it is. We're going to go back to sharing the website here. And you can check that website out, by the way, theclusterfuck.com. If anybody gets upset with me sharing those words, just remember there's people who are attached to Epstein out there that are actually really evil. So don't be worrying about me. Be worrying about that. So here is this story. Epstein, and we're going to say allegedly, Epstein and Bill Gates discussed getting rid of poor people as a whole in emails. So all of us who are saying there's replacement theory or that the rich hate us and we're called conspiracy theories, take a look at this. So it's newly released documents. It was from a 2011 email exchange that directly references Bill Gates in an extraordinarily disturbing way. So if Bill Gates was talking about this and then years later they put out this vaccination, they're trying to get everybody hooked up on it, you can bet this guy is constantly working at this. And remember, this guy has allegedly was said in these emails not only this that they want to get rid of people, but that he was getting Russian prostitutes from Epstein. He allegedly got a venereal disease and then was trying to find out ways to get a cure and then slip it into his wife's drink so she wouldn't know that he had it. It's really twisted stuff. There was an email detailing this by Epstein or something. So here we go. Hollywood producer Barry Josephson wrote to Jeffrey Epstein. I've been thinking a lot about that question you asked Bill Gates. How do we get rid of poor people as a whole? Notice they don't say, how do we help poor people not be poor? How do we alleviate poverty from the planet and help people? They literally say, get rid of, like a bug. Okay, just notice that because they'll try that one. Oh, we didn't mean that. We meant help poor people. But that's not the language they use. And so apparently Barry Josephson has an answer for Epstein. And Epstein replies, could he share this answer at their next meeting with Gates? This exchange appears in official DOJ released materials, dataset 9, and is part of verified Epstein files. The same email thread also mentions Epstein referring to a 16-year-old girl he described as his niece, who is supposedly working as a model. I doubt it was his niece. He probably just uses that language to get away with it. Anyways, here we go. The phrase getting rid of poor people as a whole appearing in a document communication linked to Jeffrey Epstein reference Bill Gates is alarming enough on its own. What makes it far concerning is Bill Gates' central role in shaping global health policy. He also is owning farmland. So I think he's going to plan to starve us to death, people. Through the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, he's invested billions in vaccine development, global disease surveillance, population health programs, and pandemic preparedness. So he's literally setting it up to kill us. Kill us. That's what he's doing. When a figure with that level of influence over global health, we need to get the farmland back from him because he's going to try to starve us. We go get some chickens in your yard and start growing some raised gardens, guys. Seriously. Chickens give eggs, and eggs are amazeballs. Especially in poor nations. He probably wants to target third world nations too. Has documented ties to Epstein and is referenced in a conversation using language about eliminating entire populations of the poor. The overlap raises profound questions about motive, private discussions, and unchecked power. They sit within a broader pattern of elite networks intersecting with massive sway over issues of life, death, poverty, and disease on the planetary scale. Global. Yeah. This isn't philanthropy, people. This is people plotting to murder everyone. Remember when he's sitting there? There's so many videos of Bill Gates and Melinda Gates. She's come out and said, "Oh, it was horrible. I filed for divorce." I don't believe that she's a victim. I think they're using her as a prop. I think she's in part of the system. I don't buy her victim crap at all. So don't look at Melinda Gates and go, "Poor." Yeah, she's divorced, but I think she's like there's plenty of times where Melinda and Bill Gates have been on video footage looking at each other almost like a chuckle, like they're hiding some kind of devious, sick, twisted shit that nobody knows about. And Bill Gates is he's a psychopath. He's an absolute psychopath. So there's that he's literally had that conversation with this two psychopaths having a conversation to exterminate poor people like bugs. It's It's just kind of crazy. Now, let me see. We'll get to the coded words. I just want to. What is this one here? I thought I had. No, we don't want to do that one. I'm just trying to find the Cappy. Let's see here. Oh wait, let's type in. I had one that just said Epstein, but I think it's reset itself. Epstein files is popular now. Of course it is. And we're going to talk about it. But like I told you, okay, so from the Epstein mails, it's confirmed that young girls were secretly given birth to babies at the Zorro Ranch, we'll say allegedly, who disappeared from the face of the earth. Also, dear sex slaves were buried at the same place. So they're saying there's bodies buried there, and they had young girls birthing babies. And look, allegedly they're saying all sorts of crazy stuff like eating out of human intestines, using blood of babies. I've been over this with the documentary. Here, let me load it up here. I've been over this with my video, my presentation, and I'm going to show it to you. I'll try to find the link to it as well. I talked about. It's not up here. Well, that's not good. I've got it on my drive. We talked about the adrenochrome. I think I did it in an article on the Order of Velvet Bite. I think that's where it is. I'm thinking I did a PDF, but I actually did an article of it. I've talked about this in the adrenochrome, and the adrenochrome might not be the exact way, but this is why they do all the weird baby creepy stuff. And I'm gonna give you guys a link to the those articles on the adrenochrome, because it's a two-parter and you might be interested in it. I'm not going to go and read it all, but it's true. It's the fear, the loosh, the making people terrified. David Icke just did an interview on Redacted. Check it out. He talks all about this stuff. He talks about a lot of stuff in the British Parliament and the British royal family and how they terrorize people, how fear is part of the game, addiction, and how they feed off of it. Now he goes in the direction you may be uncomfortable with, which is like lizard people, because he actually met that Heath guy, Tony Heath. He was a PM, prime minister. He's the one who bought Britain into the European Union. Let's see. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, here it is. I will give you guys the link to this. You can read it. It's Adrenochrome and the Vampire Archetype, Fear, Folklore, and Fact. And you can check it out. It's a real thing. It's an absolute real thing. So you guys can go check that out for free. This is stuff on the Epstein Island is crazy. We're getting into experimentation, like Project Montauk stuff on children. We're getting into like farming them with babies, John of God style, which John of God was linked to Oprah. We are getting into, and we have to say allegedly. We have to say allegedly, because I can't make it up, I guess. I'll be making it up if not. But let's go over here. Yeah, it's just crazy. There we got. That's his daughter. Some of these are questionable. We don't know. Like, there's a lot of redacted stuff and him with young girls. We've got people who are in with him. I don't have the specifics, but they knew. They more than well knew that Epstein was a convicted PDF file. They knew it, and they were still inviting him around their children. They would invite him to places saying their children's friends would be there, and they knew. It's like they were in love with it. In love with it. Yeah, Angel Lover says, I tried to look over the files and I got lost. I will give you a good video to go to. She really outlines some great stuff within an hour. So I was listening to it before I came here. There's no point in me just repeating what she said, but let me see if I can find you her video. It's Cal Mekris, and she does a good one on it. I will get you the links. Eh, there's no point in going we just take the tidbits. There's lots of people who will go over them. And there is there is a lot of other people too, like A- Anthony Weiner and his laptop. What a terrible last name. What a horrible last name. Anthony Weiner and his laptop. Apparently people who had to see the stuff on his laptop were horrified. And of the people and all the judges and stuff who saw his laptop, most of them are now conveniently dead, except for that one lawyer. What was she? She was like the release the Kraken. What's her name? Sydney Powell. She's the only one still alive that allegedly has seen the stuff that was on that laptop. And apparently it's horrific. We're talking child murder, sacrifice, eating out of intestines. These guys with Epstein. That's Prince Andrew right there. I've got right in front of you. Crouched over a woman. I mean, we don't know what's happening there. I can't say anything. We can just say he's crouched over a woman. And they're linked in with Mountbatten, okay? Mountbatten influenced, Prince Charles and his father, and he was a total pedo, PDF file. It's all through the royal family, and nobody's gonna bat an eye over this. We've got that. Bill Clinton, 33,000 pages released. We can't possibly go over it. I Some people believe this picture. She's saying she was hit by a bus. It almost actually looks like she might, Virginia Giuffre, she might not even be alive there. She might already be gone. I don't know. But there's so many people mentioned in these files. These are definitely AI photos right here. That's not real. That's not real. A lot of people. That's what I hate about the AI stuff. It's just crazy. Look at this. A picture with the book Lolita. Remember Stanley Kubrick did the movie Lolita? It's really like, yeah. What is this? Like, look at this picture here. Like, what is turn the volume off. Like, this girl's on the ground and she's tied up. Like, what is going on here? This looks like torture. Whew. You just get this insane sense. Here he is with this little girl. This little girl's tied up. There's another one with him almost biting a little girl. Like, I don't know what the heck this is. Is that even real? That could be AI. Look at these weird paintings by the Swedish artist. Just like, who would paint stuff like this? Cutting up babies. Yeah, you go on, and it's almost overwhelming. It's why I can cover this on Sundays, and then I have to take a break. Um, let's go into the comments. Dorothy says PM Mark Carney I believe, was pals with them all too. He is a selling out Canada to China. Yeah, Carney's wife's sister, she had a room all set aside for Ghislaine Maxwell or Jizzface Maxwell, whatever you call her. So they're all in. They're all in. It is not left versus right. It's us poor people that they want to control, money, kill, and they're up at top. It's all a network. It's a swarm. It's not even a swamp. Remember, we talked about the swarm. It's a swarm. It is absolutely crazy. We're going to. I think I have another video here of Epstein. We're going to hear what David Icke has to say about it. I just can't. I try. Like I said, we have to observe and not absorb because we don't want to become hateful and crazy like them. We don't want their yucky inside our soul. It's just so gross. We we want to replace it with a video that I have on. We're going to do a little bit more Epstein, a couple more clips, and then we will move into the Moonies and TPUSA, and you can actually understand how the government, this is all interconnected. So here's actual Epstein talking.
You don't believe in the spirit or the soul? That's what animates people, is your spirit or your soul. That's
No.
have you ever seen someone die? When they die, their spirit leaves.
Their soul leaves, no question. So in
There's
fact,
no question to you about
no
that.
question.
There's no question to you that
He would
there's
know,
some
'cause he's probably
animating
killed a whole bunch of them.
life force within us that leaves when you're dead.
God took chemicals, which is simply the material, like tables, and he somehow made this material able to have a thought. How strange is that? Not only does it have a soul, but there's some way it was put together that this material substance is able to think. So when you say to me, it's obvious to everyone that there's such a thing as a soul. Now, if you're part of the Charlatanville, you'll try to explain it to people. The soul I describe as the dark matter of the brain.
The soul is the dark matter of the brain. They're using space terms. That's interesting because they're almost describing the brain as like a galaxy or universe, and so they obviously have a theory. He has a philosophy, and him talking about the soul and then being linked allegedly to all these weird rituals and these creepy where they're trying to get the what we think is the loosh. You know, they're trying to frighten them and do the adrenochrome because they want it to get into the blood so they can have the blood because they're addicted to it. I think they like the torture part too. A lot of these elites come from families that stick them in boarding schools and they're whipped and beaten. And so they like, you know, the only thing that satisfies them is really twisted stuff. It's like an escalation. Yeah, look up dark matter. It's what they're calling all the space in the universe that we can't identify. So he thinks the soul is the dark matter of the brain. I think if we're going to go and listen to David Icke here in a second, and David Icke's going to describe it very differently. He's going to say we come through, the brain is like a filter, and our soul and our energy comes through the brain down in this realm to have this experience. He'll explain it a lot differently. But that was Epstein talking. He's kind of got that Bronx, Brooklyn, New York accent, and he's a Zio. That's important. And the biggest thing to know about him, he's not talking about dark as in dark spirit. He's talking about dark matter as in the matter in the universe. They call it dark matter. You're not getting what he means. He doesn't mean dark matter of the brain. He means, yeah, in the hippocampus, maybe. But he's talking about like dark matter in the universe, like all that space where there's all this potential and energy. They call it dark matter. Scientists call it dark matter. So he's using science talk, is what he's doing. He's using science talk. It's non-local. Incognito. The soul is non-local. Our brain, the physical, is like a filter for the soul or spirit to go through. There's soul, spirit, mind, matter. Everyone uses these interchangeably, but I think let's listen to David Icke. He's going to tell us what he thinks about Jeffrey Epstein, and it's kind of clipped off. It's not fitted to the screen, but you'll get the audio and that'll be good enough, I think.
Epstein was Jewish and a Zionist and had big connections to Israeli politicians, including Ehud Barak. Who exactly is Ghislaine Maxwell, the procurer of young girls for Epstein's ring? Well, I can tell you who her father was, Bob Maxwell, who worked for Mossad for years. And he was funded by Mossad to buy the Daily Mirror. And then when he became a liability, just like Epstein was a liability, in a accident, and the yacht was called the Lady Ghislaine, Gouffre long claimed that Epstein kept her as his underage sex slave and loaned her out to his famous friends, including Prince Andrew. The Black Book of Jeffrey Epstein's contacts are people like Tony Blair, Prince Andrew, Bill Clinton, Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman, who Epstein said visited him many times. You know, the guy who was behind the bonesaw cutting up of the journalist Jamal Khashoggi. Nice man. There are, of course, massive questions about where Epstein's money came from. He's supposed to be running a hedge fund. We do know that he was connected in this fund to a guy called Leslie Wexner. It also involves this web, something called the Mega Group, and this Mega Group connects us into Donald Trump. The Mega Group was formed in 1991 by Charles Bronfman and Wexner. What this ring does is to use pedophilia to compromise people who can make decisions that this cabal wants them to make to advance its agenda.
Okay, as you can see, there is so many connections there. You allegedly saw Steven Spielberg, Hollywood, Donald Trump. You saw it through all those groups. You can check that video out. It's over at TikTok. I have TikTok, but I just don't trust it because last time the audio wouldn't show up. So I'm not sure we're getting into the TikTok stuff that way. But it is just so crazy where you have all these people connected and it is a web and it's infiltrated in everything. And I mean everything. It's why it's infiltrated in TPUSA. TPUSA is being running by Mossad and Jeffrey Epstein was Mossad. Ike says it right in there. Allegedly. Now for the key words, like in some of the documents, you are seeing words being mentioned like pizza. Remember Pizzagate? And everyone's like, that's just crazy. That's ridiculous. It's not. It's in the documents. They're mentioning over and over again in a weird context. It's not like they're like, hey, I'm really hungry. I just got off work and someone texts them, say, hey, let's go out for pizza. And they're like, okay. It's in weird context in the wrong place. And they're constantly putting the words pizza and grape soda, pizza and grape soda, pizza and grape soda, like throughout everything. Throughout everything. That's, oh God, Deepak Chopra. Oh, well, I'll bring him up right at the end. There's a video I want to watch because it talks about another code word that might be in these things, referencing the fact that it wasn't just happened on Little St. James. That's the island, Epstein Island, St. James Island. It was happening in different places. And like I've showed you stuff where it's saying they were having girls have babies and there might be bodies buried there. They were murdering children there. It is graphic. It's almost unbelievable. It's almost unbelievable, but yeah, like I said, we have to observe and not absorb it. But this video talks about a code word people think they found, and it's a word you're not gonna be expecting, I guarantee you. But it's another code word that's in the emails. This one's about 4 minutes, so bear with me on this one. Tell me if you think this guy's right.
On a code word for human meat? Wait, what?
So they're saying that they're finding the word jerky throughout a lot of these emails, allegedly, and they think that it's code for child or human meat. I'm not even going to mention I'm not going to mention this because it's McDonald's. I don't want to get sued. I'm not even going to go there. Don't go to McDonald's. That's all I'm going to say.
Hope you are feeling
Not healthy
better.
for
Did
you.
we analyze the jerky? Why didn't we get jerky this week?
So what this is Amon, I can't remember his name. He's going to go through and read all the weird out of context way they use the word jerky, and it just becomes totally weird.
I also added more to the jerky and ginger lemongrass. Thank you so much. Super cool. Beef jerky, delicious. Jojo is here and we'll walk the jerky over to Jeffrey. We'll walk the jerky over to Jeffrey. Why would jerky walk around? Why would it do that? Delicious lunch, beef jerky. Steve and I are very grateful above all for your friendship. Some of these emails are so wholesome, aren't they? It's too bad they eat kids. A small insulated bag would be fine. I don't.
So just to know, I'm not saying they eat kids. He's just using that, but there's more emails. It shows up the word jerky over and over again. The same way pizza and grape soda keep showing up in other emails.
And checking it. No need for crazy amounts of ice. One should do. There is one bag of beef jerky in the fridge. Please get it. Also, Blank has more at her place. Please get it from her as well. I suppose it needs to be in a cold, insulated bag. Just wanted to touch base about jerky. J.E. said he was going to start eating regular food again, so he might be eating less jerky. He said he has 6 bags of it in a downstairs freezer. Why would you freeze jerky? Steve needs a 6 to 8 ounce portion of jerky. I gave you all the jerky we had, and it lasted only half the amount of time it was meant to. I felt like it was more important for you to have the jerky to.
So do you guys like feel like this is not like this is a little bit too much using that word, that it feels out of place? Or do you think Asmund Gold is off his rocker? But I mean, this is a lot of mentioning of jerkies, and why would you put jerky in a freezer? It's jerky, it's preserved. Like it's just it gets weird.
Eat during my time off. My plan is to make a batch before I leave for LSJ, and some of that will go to Steve and the rest will go.
LSJ is Little St. James. That's the island. So they're not on the island. They're talking about doing stuff. They're doing stuff off the island, and they're talking about leaving for Epstein Island.
To you at LSJ when I arrive. Little St. James Island. That's what LSJ must mean. So logically, that means that they were doing this off of the island. Steve Hansen is sending jerky to your attention overnight. I believe it should be enough to get him through. Jeffrey Epstein is asking to bring him more jerky. I'm flying in on Friday. I will bring jerky. Is there a time I could come say hi and drop off the beef jerky? And that's from Jeffrey Epstein. Francis has time to come to.
Okay, that's a lot of jerky talk. That's a lot of jerky talk. And they did the same thing with pizza and grape soda. And remember the whole thing with the pizza gate. What was that pizza shop called? We were just listening to it. Was it some kind of pizza place? Anyways, apparently some lunatic came in and fired a gun there. He didn't kill anyone, but he shot the server and destroyed the Pizzagate evidence. It's really suspicious stuff. Like, yeah. Comment here. Thank you so much for joining the show. And Andy. Billionaires walking around with jerky bags makes no sense. It makes 0 sense. It makes 0 sense. It just shows you what twisted fucking people they are.
Tomorrow, show me how to make it. Jerky class anyone. He will bring you to taste his new jerky recipe from the restaurant. He sends a warm hello. He's working at a restaurant called guys, the restaurant's called Cannibal and Cooks. Wait for it. Beef jerky and steak.
Okay. Can Cannibal and Cooks? I gotta look this up right now. Let's take a pause. Cannibal and Cook's restaurant. A restaurant called Cannibal and Cooks. Why hasn't the interweb ascertained this chef's identity? There's nothing online about this yet. Wow. There's that one actor who said he was a cannibal. What was his name? Oh God, Artie something. That's a long story. There's weird cannibal shit in Hollywood. You know, those soul cooking party crazy stuff. Artie, oh shit. Comet. Yeah, it was a Comet pizza that they shot the server at. This guy comes in and shoots the server conveniently that would have had all the pizza information on it. Let's keep going with the jerky. It's cannibalism, guys. They're talking about cannibalism.
Blank, make some jerky. I think we should landscape all around the house to use the water if possible. If the main house is not enough, Are there any recorded images of Jeffrey Epstein with beef jerky at
Super
all?
Grok.
No, there are no recorded or publicly known images of Jeffrey Epstein.
So that doesn't mean anything, but it's just a lot of jerky talk. It's a lot of weird talk for it being billionaires. Like, no. I bet you people who sell jerky don't even talk about jerky that much in emails. I bet you.
With beef jerky. Who sends beef jerky to a lab for analysis? Wait, what? I was looking for the beef jerky as I knew it was in my suitcase, and I thought that maybe I left it on the beach, only to find a small plastic.
Hey, do you see how out of context it is? I thought it was in my suitcase, but I thought I left it at the beach. Let's go test it at the lab. Like, this is out of context, and they think they're being code, but people can see code words. It's not like these people are not geniuses. They're not smart. They just have power and money, and they whack-a-doodle people if they get out of line.
Bag near my dog's bed. I'll email Francis to make us some more, as I need 6 to 8 ounces to send to the lab, and I'll forward to Francis the info to send to the lab directly. Guys, I think something's going on.
You think something's going on. Remember, they're supposed to allegedly be running weird experiments. Some of the victims have reported that they were on a slab being experimented on. They were on a slab being experimented on in some of these islands for maybe, I don't know. Paul from Newcastle, how is it over there in jolly England? Are you hearing? I don't know if you're hearing about these Epstein files, but there's people over there. I'm sure Paul knows very well who what's his name is the disc jockey. What did he have? What was that show he had? That my brain's going blank. I have so much in my mind, but that what Jim will fix it. Jimmy Savile. You know who? I bet you Paul knows who Jimmy Savile is, and he's just as twisted as Epstein. Whew, okay, let's keep playing this because they do experiments. They do lab stuff. They do research that like Project Montauk, crazy, creepy stuff on children. Like it's messed up.
What's this here? Commercial. Apparently, it's his last girlfriend who's active on Twitter right now. Check the mail. Names for hers again. Oh boy. People are saying this is Jeffrey Epstein's last girlfriend. And this is the same name as inside of the files. And her name change hasn't occurred since 2017, before the files released. After years of silence, the truth. Jeffrey was innocent. I really? Like, he just a good boy? He didn't do nothing wrong? Trapped by powerful people who silenced him.
I think someone hijacked that woman. I think Jeffrey hijacked her Twitter. I'm not suicide, just in case you know the whole truth soon. Then she's like, Jeffrey's innocent. Sure he is, lady. Sure.
I was his last confidant, and I have the evidence that they're still hiding. I'm not suicidal, just in case.
And I'm going to let you guys know right now, there's emails with Jeffrey. Who is he talking to? I can't remember, but he literally outlines that he works for the Rothschild. And we know the Rothschilds started basically the Zionism over in that little island. Not little island. That country is not real. We'll call it is not real. It's not real. It's really not real. That country over there. I'm trying to do the code, guys. I can't. It drives me crazy that I can't say the real words, that I have to speak in code. But that's how it goes. So, jerky being the word. Jerky is the word that they're using in some of these emails. Let's pop it back up here. I think you've heard enough to know that it's out of context. It doesn't make sense. I'm going to let you come up with your conclusion that's if you think something weird's going on there, because we have to be careful with what we say. There is Deepak Chopra. I never liked Deepak Chopra. I always thought he was a false prophet, but take a look at this. Deepak Chopra, a highly popular Indian American author, speaker, and known for popularizing ideas around mindfulness, meditation, spirituality, and mind-body healing. His name appears 3,300 times in the Epstein files. Writes in one email, God is a construct. Cute girls are real. Oh, it's good to know that God's a construct. Jim will fix it. Yeah, Paul knows. Jim will fix it. When I was a child, I said, there's something creepy and wrong with that guy. Got wrong off my mother, that Jimmy Savile. Yeah, when I see pictures of him, the fact that he was in Prince Charles' inner circle, who's now King Charles for decades, they can't tell me they didn't know. Just like they didn't know that Ted Heath was a PDF file. They knew he was. And David Icke says that long before he started researching this crazy stuff and writing about it, I think he might have still been in with the BBC. He actually was in the makeup room and Ted Heath was there. He's literally said that he saw Ted Heath and his eyes went kind of black, scanning him up and down, and he was really creepy. And people have reported seeing, this is crazy. I'm not saying this is real. I'm saying people have reported seeing Ted Heath turn into a giant lizard. I'm just saying, that's what they've said. I haven't seen this, but they're all connected. Jimmy Savile. There was another guy, Cecil something, who's this big fat politician in Britain that was reported as a PDF file and like murderer and everything of children. Allegedly, he's dead now. That got outed when he was dead. It all gets outed when they're dead, doesn't it? What else do we have here? According to this is okay. We'll do that one later because this is Jeffrey Epstein. This is an email from Al Seckel to Jeffrey Epstein. I look forward one day to sitting down and hearing some of your stories and paving some new ground ahead. Do you still want to do your unconference of the passionate minds? And then Jeffrey responds back. The original Senate fund, it came out of Congress. And Wayne Owens, the senator from Utah, this is with the Mormon Church, I was there and argues against it, had to meet with the head of the Mormon Church. It was just a matter of time. Jeffrey Epstein's meeting with the head of the Mormon Church. So he gets into the Mormon Church and he says, hey, you tell those people to vote properly. You tell those people. And I'm not even going to get into everything about the Mormon Church. This one is from James Haywood to Jeffrey Epstein. Subject off-grid. Potential Angel Investment Op Nuclear. That's the title. He says, we need to discuss World War III. The investors want to know if we are still planning February 8th, 2026. That's today. And this was from 2018. Please be advised that I'm on vacation till July 29th. I will be attempting to be off-grid. My assistant, Rachel Haynes, blah, 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 can help if it's urgent. He's asking if they're still planning February 8th, 2026. That is today, people. What is happening today? Is anything happening out there? Is there something crazy? Because they were planning something today. Cecil Smith. Yeah, Cecil Smith. So something was supposed to be happening today, according to that email. They're going to bomb someone? They're going to strike Iran? What are they doing? You know, who don't we see mentioned in this? Actually, Putin does get mentioned. And I know Putin knows Epstein, and I know Putin knows he knows Epstein and he knows Bibi Netanyahu, but they're all world leaders. Some people say he was trying to stop it. I'm not too sure. I'm not too sure what's going on here. This makes me think of Fallout. Yeah, well, you know, a lot of people don't even know if nuclear weapons are really real in the way that they say. It's not that they don't have the opportunity to bomb people, but just think about Japan when they dropped the bomb on Hiroshima. Why isn't there all this fallout? Why, like, there should be fallout, right? Nobody should be able to go around there. There should be like radioactive kill. Is there? I don't know. I don't know. I think they make up a lot of shit. I think they make up a lot of crazy stuff. Okay, there's that. Now, the next time you guys want to buy the lottery, you might want to think twice. The lottery is a scam. Powerball. Epstein owned a company that was Zorro, and he set that up as a trust, and he won the Powerball lottery. He's won a lottery multiple times, actually. It wasn't only Powerball, so they set up a company as a trust, and that company can claim the lottery so they don't have to know who wins it. An $85 million Powerball jackpot winning ticket for July 2nd, 2008 drawing was sold in Altus, Oklahoma at Stripes convenience store. The prize was claimed by an entity known as Zorro Trust, which opted for a cash lump sum payment of $29.3 million after taxes. So most of it goes to taxes. And Epstein owned that trust company. So, and that's not the first lottery that he's won. What does it? Why does he people even need to win a lottery? The Super Bowl is happening. Well, we'll see what happens with the Super Bowl, but who knows? Who knows? So there's that. Oh, so next time you buy a lottery ticket, like it's so vast. There's so many people. You can never tell. You don't know if they fake it. They could cheat very easily on lottery. The Dalai Lama mentioned 169 times in the Epstein file. That doesn't mean that he did anything. Okay, they could have just been trying to visit him. Like, they want to get their paws in on everyone. So to make them look spiritual and great, maybe they want to visit the Dalai Lama. I'm not sure what context the Dalai Lama was mentioned, but he is in there, which wouldn't surprise me. That doesn't necessarily mean that the Dalai Lama was helping with trafficking, although I think the whole Dalai Lama thing is a little bit weird. I'll be honest with you. Now, we're getting into the fun part. Is Jeffrey Epstein still alive? You guys can tell me, there's a big possibility that he is. Apparently on like a 4chan kind of thing, one of the guards tipped off and said that they came and took him out the night before and replaced him with a body. And I'm going to go find this article, this video on Facebook that I saw of it, but I'm going to pop this up so you guys can check this out while I'm looking. I screenshot. It's a little sloppy. But on the right is Jeffrey Epstein, and on the left is the body that they carried out with a totally different nose. So take a look at that for a few seconds. Sorry if you're listening on audio only afterwards, but just take a look at that. I'm going to go look at the video where she talks about the possibility. She mentions these images, I think, that are possibly AI. Here we go. I've got it right here. And we'll but there are people who thinks Jeffrey's alive. So here's that. That's his nose. That's the nose of the guy. The ears also don't match. Let me see if I have a picture of ears. I don't think that I do, but I do have that picture. I'm going to show you a couple other pictures after. We're going to go into this video and listen to what she thinks. There we go. Jeffrey Epstein, is he alive? Johnny Five alive.
So Jeffrey Schleppstein is alive. He was spotted in Israel recently with 2 bodyguards with the earpieces. I'm going to show you. And if you zoom in on those 2 guys on either side of him.
So a lot of people are saying this is AI. You can, I'll let you decide for yourself. I'm not presenting this as my evidence. I just think that there is a possibility that he's alive and people are just making up AI about it. But it is possible that he's still alive, that he faked his death. Or it's also possible that that 4chan message was from the CIA or FBI and they're putting it out there to make things confusing.
You can see they have earpieces in. I don't know, bodyguards or whatever they are. And somebody asked AI to compare that picture that I just showed you with another picture of Jeffrey. And I'll show you what.
I'm just going to say AI can be wrong. I've had AI do spelling mistakes where I had to correct the spelling mistakes myself. I've had to tell and correct AI a lot on facts because remember, AI is limited to what the system and the programmers are telling it and what we're feeding it. Just remember, it has its own it has its own weaknesses. Let's just put it that way.
What it said. Pause to read that.
Okay, so what that says is, based on the images provided, they appear to be the same person. The man with the long gray hair and beard crossing the street in the first photo matches the profile of the man in the second. No, that still doesn't mean it's not AI photo. It just, if it's an AI photo, it could be that they did really good AI. Anyways, she's saying she thinks they're the same person, and the photo of him, the guy now, was apparently with guards in Tel Aviv.
And in the files, there are documents that link him to a Fortnite game, and it's been active. He's been playing.
Okay, I'm going to show you the screenshot here. This says the alleged Jeffrey Epstein account played Rocket League less than 3 days ago, and apparently that this is his account that he used to use to play the game, and it was active. Was it him? I have no idea. So let's keep going on this video.
Yeah, so Jeffrey logged into his Fortnite game in 2024, 5 years after he supposedly passed away. Oh, and if you think that was him in the jail, the body, that wasn't him. I'm going to show you. You'll see the difference in the noses and I think the ears. Hold on. And you know who I think that is, the body that they used? I think they used Hillary Clinton's brother, who passed away. And this is another game that's...
Okay, so Hillary Clinton's brother passed away in June of July, that in 2019, and Epstein supposedly died in August. Strange thing. Check this out. According to official records, Jeffrey Epstein died on August 10th. This was a press release dated August 9th saying that he died. So it's like they had it ready. Strange stuff. She thinks it's Hillary Clinton's brother, who died a month or two before. Here's Hillary Clinton's brother. And this is him when he was healthy. So he could have been sick and ill. I think, what did Hillary Clinton's brother die of? Let's see what he died of. Clinton's brother. He was Tony Rodham, Anthony Rodham. Yeah, Tony Rodham, and he died of they're not saying. Let's see. Died of. Okay, they won't publicly disclose what he died of. They're just saying he died. They will not publicly disclose it. So I don't know what he died of. So he could have lost weight. I don't know what happened, but this is astounding. This is what Hillary Clinton's brother, Tony Rodham, looked like. You're gonna shit bricks. He looks a lot like Jeffrey Epstein. A little pudgier, but I think his ears match up better, and he's got the hooked nose. His nose is more hooked, just like this nose. No, not that one. Where's the picture that I want to pop up there? I just had it. It's more like this nose here. So they think that's him. Let's pop it back. They think that's Hillary's, and they won't release what he died of or how he died. Just so you guys know. It's really weird. Would they do that? Sure they would. Sure they would. Look, Hillary Clinton's family is all linked to mafia. Just in case you didn't know, it's sus. It is super sus, you guys. It is so crazy sus. He looks like me and I'm not a Jew. Yeah, so they look very similar. Which when I seen his picture, I gasped because I seen her video and I was like, there's no way. There's no way. And I seen his picture, I'm like, oh wow, they do look similar. And then I looked up when he died and it was just before. It was like a month or two before. Now, they could have frozen his body and kept it. And they won't say how he died. They will not publicly disclose his cause of death. So things are weird. Things are looking really shifty. Could he be alive? It's really possible. It's so possible that Jeffrey Epstein could still be ticking. I can't say that for sure. This is allegedly. I just wanted to kind of present that, because if he is, and they're putting this stuff out there right now. What is the purpose? Like I said, I think there's factors. They argue they are trying to consolidate more and more power, and they can attack the little people and do crazy stuff, but they're also going to want to get rid of other people who have powers, other companies. I think in the future you're going to see some kind of Terminator like thing where it's not countries warring against countries, it's corporations, trying to take each other out and off each other. They're still doing it. They're doing it right now. This is the new world order kind of globalistic weird thing that's happening right now between corporations. And I'm not sure if Jeffrey Epstein is alive. What is the objective? Why would people be why would he fake his death? Why would they be releasing this? I know, but Congress didn't have to release this. They could have just kept playing the game. So who, why, what, where, when? It obviously serves some purpose. Is it a distraction? It's a distraction, but I think it's also meant to do some damage to certain people. So watch who gets focused on. And so it's either it's meant to hurt people, or they're super incompetent and they just threw everything in a package and just threw it out because they're lazy. I mean, that's possible too. You never know. So what we're going to do here, that is Epstein. If you guys have anything, we're going to do a 5-minute break before we get into the Moonies, and you'll see how the Moonies are tied into TPUSA, and everything's tied in to all this crazy stuff. It's really creepy. We're going to do a few-minute break here. I'll put a little music on, and I'll be back in 5. I've got to check on the dogs, do a bathroom, and then we'll get into the Moonies. And it's going to be fun stuff. The Moonies is disturbing, and it is distinctly tied into TPUSA. It's tied into the CIA. It's tied into American globalist control and religious control. It is pretty disturbing. So let's all take a little break, a bathroom break, a yawn, a stretch, or whatever. And I will be right back with the Moonies. All right, all right. Hopefully my mic is working. We are back from a little break. Just let the doggos out as we get into the second half. I understand if most of you want to leave and go get ready for your Super Bowl, but remember, that's Brad and Circus's people. I'm going to try to be nice about this. I'm not watching the Super Bowl. I'm not watching TPUSA do their halftime Kid Rock show. I'm just not wasting my time on it. I think we should be supporting smaller podcasts like me and whomever else that you like to listen to. You know, it's very valuable that we have these conversations. And like I said, if we pop over here, we can go. I'll just remind you guys about the website. And hopefully you guys got the link for the adrenochrome. If you guys just go to the Substack, you'll see it there. I'm trying to find the website, but it's not up. Maybe I closed it down. There we go. Observe, don't absorb. That's why I never go to the events. I wouldn't go to a Super Bowl. I consider that like hysteria, like mind control. When you go into these groups, we're getting into the Moonies. I'll describe for you what the Moonies is, and then we'll talk about what Candace had to say about the Moonies. I'll turn that volume down there. I'll kind of ease it out, but we're going to observe, don't absorb, and that means observe what is, don't let it become you. I reminded people of that on my website because I have to remind myself. But we've got, of course, we're streaming live right now on Apple, YouTube. Not on Apple, we're on YouTube. We are on the Substack, Kick, and Twitch. You can go to the website and subscribe to any of those. All the links to the podcast, all the links to all the platforms are right on the website. That is theclusterfuck.com. You can go to the About page or the Listen Now page, of course, and check that out. I hope you guys are having a good Sunday. It's All a Hoax says, before we get into this, I quit watching professional sports a long time ago, around the time they started going on strike. I never had an interest in it. And I'll tell you, going to the actual games is more intense, obviously, than watching it. I went to the Olympics in 2010 with my son, and we went to a Olympic hockey game. And it was more exciting than watching it on TV. But at either rate, it's meant to keep us busy, right? And the Super Bowl kind of reminds me when I see the TPUSA stuff and all these political rallies, it's like the Super Bowl. Nothing's real. Everything is an illusion. Everything feels fake and like it's one big distraction. Like it's the Roman Colosseum on crack times 50, right? It's why Epstein, all those people refer to America as the new Rome. Like it's like Rome 2.0, but it's like it's on steroids. And their idea was, instead of to be toppled by it, was to infiltrate it. I don't know what you think about that, but that's one of the theories out there. Now we're going to get into, it's a damn shame what's happened to the Olympics. Yeah. Well, speaking of the Olympics, I mean, this is some kind of, check it out right in front of our face. That kind of, it looks like the Star of David kind of mixed with a nucleus, mixed with some kind of weird Eye of Sauron. I'm not sure what they mean by this, but I just thought I'd pop it up. I did have it just in case someone mentioned it, and there you did. There you did. You mentioned it, and it is weird. That is weird. And there's the tree in the background, and everyone's like, "Well, why do you think everything's satanic?" It is to them. I try to ignore it and not give my attention to the energy. I think they're ridiculous. And a lot of people like to say it's Satanism from paganism, but I'm going to tell you something. The pagan thing from years ago, like thousands of years ago has nothing to do with what they're doing today. What they're doing today is totally separated from life in pagan England, 4,000 years ago. And it's like to equate it is to, like, it's just ridiculous in my opinion to equate the two. It's yeah, it's just like, okay, they're not the same thing. Not by far. The stuff that people are doing today is based on something entirely different, and they're probably just pulling visuals from all sorts of different religions from the past. And they've got some kind of, I don't know what their god is. I don't know who they're praying to. I'm not sure if I want to know, but it's twisted. It is bizarre and twisted, but we're going to get into the Mooney cult and what it is. Because a lot of people are like, what are the Moonies? And this fits in with this globalist idea. And that's what Epstein, he's running a sort of sex line and Mossad stuff. He's collecting info probably for Mossad, for blackmail. But they're also doing these satanic kind of rituals. They're doing these sacrifice. They're harvesting these loosh, as some put it. And the dogs might bark because the Mooney. Oh, this is really interesting. It's a informal and often derogatory term for the follower of the Unification Church founded by Sun Myung Moon. It is used to describe members, sometimes implying intense dedication, blind faith, or impulse. We're not talking about the fan of Sailor Moon. It's a unification church that ran from 1920 to 2012. Primarily refers to the followers of Sun Myung. That's what we're talking about. And the unification church is, they're going to do all sorts of, we are innocent, you're they often try to preach religious persecution, even though their origins is really devious. Their origins is super, super devious. But they'll be like, a lot of these times, it's right now hugely operating in South Korea and also in Japan. And this cult has resulted in the death of people, assassination. It has infiltrated different governments and taken over, used as a psyop to take over different governments over in Asia. It's really devious, and they'll try to say that they're being persecuted because of their unification process, church, whatever religion, but they're actually being prosecuted because they've done illegal stuff. They're like, it's legit stuff, and they're just liars and manipulators. It's one things I've noted about the Moonies. So let's go here. Yeah, I want to do some videos of the Moonies. Is actually what I want to do. We want to talk about.
You don't believe in the spirit or the soul?
We're going to go Mooney it. And when I say Mooney, I don't mean. We're gonna listen to a couple of videos. We're gonna listen to this one with Ian Carroll. I'm sure he'll explain it very good, but this is important to me because I talk about cults often and we think of it's just some guy, some enigmatic leader with some kind of female counterpart that brainwashes people, but it's much more in depth than that. And we've seen in the 20th century the spread of so many cults in an insane way. And a lot of their patrons are really wealthy people or even up to the government, that it can be no mistake that these cults have shown up. This is by the design, and this is by design way up to massive power structures in basically in a sense of mind control and experimentation on human beings. And we're going to see what Ian Carroll has to say about this church and this cult and where its origins are.
Is pretty big. He is also said to have distributed opium and narcotics. Kodama publicly regarded this activity as purely idealistic and patriotic. By 1945, Kodama had become one of the richest men in Asia with assets equivalent to 175 million US dollars.
He talks so fast. It's the thing I hate about these videos where it's like, 1 minute, reels. They're like, blah, 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 and I'm like, "What did he say?" Sorry about that if he talks fast. Let's turn the volume up.
Which is worth a lot more now than it was back, it's a lot of money. So after World War II,
He's talking about the origins and how the cult with Japan. This is really important because after World War II, America really wanted to take control of Japan, right, in the area. Apparently, they just nuclear bombed them, but they could still go in and there was no fallout. That's really weird. Anyways, he's going to go right to these origins and tell you this.
Japan loses, and he gets arrested by the United States as a suspected Class A war criminal. And he probably was. He was held in Sugamo prison.
And I think that's that he's talking about the Sung Mang Yoon, the who they say is the founder of it.
With Ryoichi Sasakawa, where the two formed a long friendship. Kodama also formed a close friendship with fellow suspected Class A war criminal and future Prime Minister Nobusuke Kishi.
So the founder, the Sung Mang Yoon, now establishes a relationship with the guy who would in the future become Prime Minister of Japan. And these are not nice people. These are evil, vicious, bastard, okay? Just so you know, they're vicious men in Japan. Post World War II, this cult is set up. He's friends with this guy who would become future Prime Minister in Japan.
Yeah, someone in the chat is saying ninja Jew. Maybe just ninja, really. Maybe just heroin trafficking ninja. So
heroin
this crime
trafficker
lord winds up
He's a crime
in
lord.
the same prison for war criminals with this other war criminal called Nobusuke Kishi. And we'll get to that prison in just a second. But Mr. Kishi, it's right there on his Wikipedia page. We're gonna go deeper into it than that, but it's right there. With overt and covert U.S. support, he consolidated Japanese conservatives against perceived threats from the.
So the U.S. is basically doing a psyop in there. They're infiltrating through this guy to basically get U.S. influence into Japan to defeat anyone else who's coming in. That's what he's about to tell you.
The Japan Socialist Party, and in 1955 was instrumental in forming the Liberal Democratic Party, the LDP. Kishi was thus key in establishing the 1955 system under which the LDP remains Japan's dominant party to this day.
So basically the US had these people, they probably cracked some skulls and knocked some people off on their way up there. And that's how these guys get in. So because there was a popular socialist party rising, and that's how they got in there.
Okay. Kishi was publicly known as a friend of the sect's leader, Sun Myung Moon. He was very close with the Moonies. And this is the man that came to lead the Liberal Democratic Party of Japan, which is not very liberal.
So he gets in there, he's leading the liberals, and he's friends with the Moonies. Boom, you've got government, corruption, drug trafficker, cult leader, religious crazies, all melding into one under the influence and basically paid and funded by the CIA. The KCIA was in there too. That's Korea. The CIA was stationed over in Korea. That's why Korea was so important to America. They were over, the Korean War, they were over there as well. They wanted control of that area. And there's always been a war. You're like, why has there always been a war in the area? Because since post World War II, that is how America was staving off what they said was communism.
But is entirely a construct of the CIA. The CIA funded this LDP party. The CIA selected the LDP party, and the CIA selected him and his buddy, Yoshio Kodama. They selected both of these guys, as well as others, to be the builders that built the political party that took over Japan back then. And that party is still the party in power in Japan to this day.
All right. So That's just the ABCs of how they got in there and America got in there. And now you're like, okay, so what does that have to do with TPUSA? Quite a bit. And we know the stuff that's going on. If you're coming to this channel, you'll know that I think that the assassination of Charlie Kirk is insanely suspicious. I don't think some kid on a rooftop here in Utah did it. I think it's his wife's behavior is very odd. I'll say that at least. There's so much information about it. It certainly wasn't a 30-06 gun. I think the microphone lapel exploding thing is compelling, kind of like the pagers that Israel blew up and bragged about, killing hundreds of people. Kind of like that. I think that's compelling. And we got one of two things. Look, either his wife, Kirk, Charlie Kirk's wife, is in on it, or Charlie ain't dead, because her behavior is not that of a grieving wife. And I don't care if people grieve differently. She ain't grieving at all. That's all I have to say about that, and it's really suspicious. And I think some of these same factors and CIA and Mossad, possibly did this to take over TPUSA, because this is how they control and do their influence the same way they did with the Moonies. There's a lot of similarities, and pretending like Charlie Kirk is some martyr, Christ risen again kind of thing. And you hear all of these people babbling on, like technocrats talking about the Antichrist. Like, why would Peter Thiel be talking about the Antichrist? Like, what's up with that? That, like, just some really bizarre stuff going on here today. And so I thought, when I was listening to Candace and listened to her talk about the connections and the CIA and the Moonies, and so we know the CIA is creating cults. This is why I want to go over Jim Jones again. We'll have to probably do that sometime in March, because this Jim Jones and Jonestown was created by the CIA as well. The CIA is going around doing these experiments and creating these cults and inserting certain people to control the mass populations. So, I don't know if they think they're doing good, or they're doing a weird thing for capitalism, but it looks sinister. It looks twisted. Like, you have to form a really creepy cult. I want to get a video before we go into the Candace video. I want to get a video to show you the Moonies, because it's a weird thing where you do these mass marriages. You don't even know the person, and there's like thousands of people getting married all at once, and they've got this leader. It's creepy. And there's something about evangelical TPUSA that reminds me of it. We've got to go look for a video, because I want you to see what these Moonies are doing, and then we'll get into we'll merge into the TPUSA, so you can understand how cults, politics, how they link worship and Christ and that kind of propaganda in with town halls and manipulation and religion and money laundering. It's really, really creepy. I recommend everybody read the book Chaos, but it just gets so, oh my God, it gets so creepy. What are the Moonies? We can let's see if we can do a video search here. The Moonies cult, Japan. Videos. Let's see if we can get a short on them. Let's see.
The killing of Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe shocked people after the killer revealed his motives. Tetsuya Yamagami said he killed Abe because of his links to the Unification Church, popularly perceived as a cult with massive levels of influence.
Oh, it is a cult. Unification. And you'll think, well, what? Everybody's allowed to join a cult. By the end, you'll see why I think this cult is really disturbing, and that TPUSA is like Moonies 2.0. And I just want to see, here we go. I want to see Unification Church marriage. That's what I want to show you guys. They're mass marriages. Here we go. nice music. It says, if I can get it back here, thousands of couples took part in a mass wedding at a Unification Church, South Korea on Thursday. I don't even think you know them. They just put all these people together. And it looks creepy. So you're not an individual. You're just all here like a program, like a template. Like, and I feel that same way when about the Mormon Church. I feel that same way about a lot of things evangelical. They're just hypnotized, and it's creepy how your mind could get synced into this. And this is like very much like hive mind, cyborg mind, and I think they're experimenting with people's minds this way for transhumanism and some weird global future. Around 4,000 couples from 64 countries crowded in the hall. So they go all together in this big giant hall. Doesn't this remind you of some kind of evangelical event, like some TPUSA event? There's like thousands of people waiting to get married, and they do these mass marriages, and they're mind controlling this. This is global. It's not even just here. Daniel Maxfield says, I grew up in Utah in the cult of LDS. I'm in Utah right now. I'm not in the cult though, fortunately. I've already said I feel like there's a template that's here, and I don't fit the template. And there's a lot of people who are born into LDS, and they grow up and they don't feel like they fit the template. Like they struggle with it. That's why a lot of people leave, because they can't do it. They can't kill their mind in themselves enough to fit a template and be mind controlled. They just can't do it. They're too independent. So that you can see like this crowd of people. I'm sorry if you're listening to this on audio, you won't be able to see this because it's all music, but it's disturbing. That's another thing. In a lot of these kind of cults, you don't get to decide your wedding. You don't get to do things. It's already decided for you. You have to wear garments. You have to do this. They tell you how you're going to do it, where you're going to do it. They'll exclude people. People who are, aren't in your cult won't be able to come to the marriage. They won't be able to come to your funeral. It's so weird. And it's meant to take people, pull them in, control them, and split their family apart. That's what it's meant to do. It's super disturbing. I want one with a little bit more. That's 8 minutes long. Here she is. She's talking about how it's a KCIA front. Let's check this out.
What is a topic that at any moment you could give like a 5-minute speech on?
The biggest threat to us as a species is not nuclear war or climate change, it's psychological warfare. So you know how like governments will pay to create smear campaigns that get spread through Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and everything? Before that, for decades, governments have been training people from birth to speak another language and blend in seamlessly to the opposite culture so that they can give back information and they can be hands and feet on the ground to do whatever their government tells them to do. And I'm passionate about this because my parents met each other when they were recruited coercively to join the same South Korean CIA front group disguised as a religion, which the South Korean government used to gather information on the US and which the US government later used to send guns and drugs and people to death squads in Nicaragua. I was raised from birth to believe that I am culturally and spiritually Korean and a member of the nation of Chanoguk.
What is it?
Yeah, she's that's insane. Like, that's insane stuff. The brainwashing that happens. So they literally tell you it's KCIA, CIA in Korea that has created this religion. It's infiltrated it, and it's there to mind control the people. And then it uses the people to defend it. So they go out and attack other people, whether it's on the internet or in real life, or they might be some kind of sleeper cell assassin. You're seeing the same shit here. They're doing it all over the place. It's MK Ultra. Cults are MK Ultra. We definitely have to revisit Jim Jones. He's probably one of the most prolific ones in memory in the United States that happened with the People's Temple. They all have these weird names. But now we have TPUSA Faith going on. And we're going to have a little visit here with Candace Owens, or give my voice a little bit of a break. And she is going to go into how TPUSA is connected. Like, how do we prove that TPUSA, the structure, is connected with the Moonies or influenced by that. Like it's sort of like a 2.0 template of that. Has the CIA learned something? Have they learned something from doing the Moonies and Jim Jones that they can bring through here? And this is like it on steroids. If that's the case, that means MAGA is an experiment, and they've been used, and the evangelicals are being used to basically be mind control and do the work of the CIA on behalf of their leader Charlie Kirk and Donald Trump or whoever else they worship. It's really disturbing, but we have to have a look at this video, and she's going to tell you exactly the link between TPUSA and the Moonies. It's going to take a few minutes, but we've got time.
With him, verified exactly that. They said he was a kid who grew up outside of Lynchburg in high school.
So she's talking about this guy who was poor, grew up poor. She'll say his name in a minute. I can't remember his name offhand, but you'll see in a few minutes how he's linked. He's this poor guy. He suddenly comes into wealth, and he comes into all this influence, and you'll see how he ties into TPUSA in a bit.
He was very poor, very poor. They stress this. Not a problem. Obviously, I was poor too. Johnny had some severe daddy issues. I am told directly by someone who went to school with him that he made a name for himself in a long way. He got caught with some porn magazines and was pretty badly made fun of. Okay, kids make mistakes growing up. But it gets more interesting when you learn that suddenly little Johnny fell into a lot of money. He had a male mentor who bought him and everyone in his family, allegedly, brand new cars.
So very suspicious. I've had this with friends. They were struggling and everything, and they got with a guy who was Hell's Angel, and then suddenly they had tons of money. And I'm like, and a log cab. When people just come into, like, not that they start doing better over time, they just suddenly they're dirt poor and then they're stinking rich. That's a little flag. I'm not saying it means something. I'm saying it's a flag to jot down and take note of, and you might want to be apprehensive about that person and where they're getting that money.
So Johnny was po no mo. And this daddy mentor of his is the one that pushed for Jerry Falwell Sr. to give Johnny a position with Liberty University. That man's name is Ron Godwin. It's Johnny's mentor, Ron Godwin. The protege.
So Ron Godwin, that's the guy who's given this Johnny kid some money, and Johnny actually is still out there active and doing shit now. But Ron Godwin, very important name.
Of Sun Myung Moon.
Hey?
The Moon.
Sun Myung Moon. Ron Godwin is a protege of Sun Myung Moon, who's influencing this Johnny guy, okay?
Sun Myung Moon, who led this Moonies cult, picked Ron Godwin, not only just to run the Washington Times for him, which I told you they purchased the Washington Times, but
the Washington Times is being influenced by the Moonies cult, hence the CIA. That's why we can say most of these news places are not journalists. They're being run by the CIA and fucking cults, religious cults, at some level.
Also declared Ron Godwin to be one of his 3 disciples, declaring, and I quote, "You will be like the 3 disciples of Jesus. Each one of you will put yourself in Jesus's position and multiply 3 disciples of your own." So Sun Myung Moon says, I am like Jesus. I feel like I'm blaspheming just saying that. And he picks this Ron Godwin guy, and he says to Ron Godwin, and you will pick 3 disciples of your own. And yeah, we can confirm that looks like one of Godwin's 3 disciples, so to speak, was Johnny Moore, who minted the Kairos company.
So we've got Sun Myung Moon, who influenced that Ron guy, who is now influencing Johnny Moore, and Johnny Moore is still out there doing shit, and he's still getting in at TPUSA. If you got to go check out the full Candace video on this, because she goes into depth. We got a few more minutes on this one, but this is how it happens. It's like a virus. It's like a mind virus. They get in everywhere. And so most of these MAGA people don't realize that they are being controlled by some kind of template, some kind of Moonies template with TPUS faith. TPUSA didn't start out as faith division. It developed a faith division over time. And now it's gone mad. Let's keep listening.
Other than Andrew Colvett of Turning Point USA.
Oh, look at that. Andrew's linked in with all those. This is the guy that's running shit right now and lying about Charlie Kirk's assassination. Andrew Colvett is linked in with this wrong guy and the Moonies guy.
Looks like this. If we look at that in an organization chart, yep, he's a declared disciple, and I guess I should have put technically Johnny beneath him. And Andrew, I'm wondering if Andrew is.
I'm going to pause this and remind you, Andrew Colvett started out as an actor. He's a failed actor, and he got into this later. So a lot of these people were actors, and they just hire them, and they get them in these positions of power. I think his dad was a DA or something like that, but he's a kind of a failed actor. So now he's in with this Johnny Moore, who is being influenced by Ron whatever, who is a protege of Sung Myung Moon, whatever his name, the Mooney dude from that Unification Church.
Johnny Moore's disciple, or I don't know, one of Ron Godwin's 3 disciples. We're not sure. But we can tell you that when Ron Godwin retired from Liberty University in October of 2014, of course, his Johnny boy left too, right? Johnny was his protege. And that's when Johnny went to Hollywood. But then all of a sudden he wanted back in at Liberty University, and he was told no repeatedly. And without Daddy Godwin to push through his paperwork this time, there really was no pathway for him to end up back at Liberty until lo and behold, in 2021, as his executive vice president, Mr. Andrew Colvett, is now managing Charlie Kirk, the most unbelievable thing happens. Jerry Falwell gets ousted from Liberty University. Jerry Prevost is named as his successor, and the very first thing that Jerry Prevost does is he fires Charlie Kirk, and he also moves rather immediately to reinstate none other than the sometimes lurking Johnny Moore, paying him, I am told, an absurd amount.
So I guess Charlie Kirk was associated with Liberty University. He gets rid of him, gets Johnny Moore. Andrew Colvett's somehow influencing TPUSA. I'm not sure exactly how it's going. It's a little convoluted.
Monthly retainer. And I'll say allegedly here, even though my source comes directly from inside Liberty University. So I feel pretty confident that the information I received is accurate, that they just ousted and they said, Johnny's now back and influential and making money here. So what's the point here? Take me very seriously when I say that Turning Point Faith is problematic. The organization is intended to be the Moonies 2.0. The intention behind the Moonies cult, by the way, in case it's not clear to you, was one world government, achieved through the concept of a unification church. We are all being brought in by the, I guess you could say, their version of the Lord, which is just, I don't know, some CIA clone, somebody that you can get behind. They are repeatedly establishing a messianic figure, and they're expecting people to follow them because how dare you question?
There you go. The Moonies is meant to be a globalist church. It's meant to, that's why it's called the Unification Church. That's why they bring everybody. It's this, I don't know how they consider this not like some kind of communist. You have no identity. You're just this little bobblehead in the crowd. Everyone's dressed the same. You're all just one ceremony. How intimate is that? How and then you're hitched to this church, which is hitched to the CIA and the government. It's like some mass fuckery. It's so disturbing to me. We need to go find a video of we need to go find a video and compare it of you've seen those mass ceremonies where they're getting married. We need to go look at TPUSA event. Let's see. They're doing a halftime right now. Live Turning Point featuring Tucker Carlson at Indiana University. We are not. Let's see what Turning Point has on their channel. Live. Are you live? fireside with JFK. I thought they were doing an event. I thought they were doing a Super Bowl. Ah. So, I mean, Charlie was very instrumental. He would go out and talk to the kids in the universities, and this is why they wanted to take over that. Assassinate the founder, turn him into a martyr, because they want to send this faith stuff, which is run by the CIA, kind of like a Moonies cult, into the university and start controlling the young people and brainwashing them. Maybe they won't be married in the same way in a mass thing, but they're highly influenced by that Moonies cult leader. He's tied into all of this stuff. And there's probably a lot of other connections. Remember that the CIA, and this stuff all screams People Temple. Like it's nonstop, and it's not by accident. It just didn't show up here. Americans just didn't start behaving in these mass psycho Costco style churches like this. This was by design. This is by the CIA. This is MK Ultra mind control en masse. I can't faith event. Let's see. Turning Point USA announces its halftime show. Here we go.
Turning Point USA has announced the lineup for its Super Bowl halftime show, and it's a little bit more country. It will be headlined by Kid Rock.
Okay, I'll be skipping that one. I hope you guys skip it too. But I'm trying to find a comparison. So we can kind of compare evangelicalism to that. Let's listen to this.
It's been 11 days since Charlie Kirk was assassinated at a speaking event at Utah Valley University. Since that day...
Yeah, let's just go for Kirk Memorial, because that'll show us this in action. I can guarantee you they would have been doing the same thing right at it. Okay, here we go. Look at them raise their hands, and they're all going to start doing. This is MK Ultra. This is a mass MK Ultra event that they're doing. They rush this through, they push this through, they assassinate him, and they push all this memorial stuff through and all this stuff because they have to go when they're trauma. This is a trauma bond. They're bonding them to TPUSA faith, all the money, the CIA, the mind control. They're doing that through trauma. And then they play all this emotional music that engages them. And it is very effective, especially to people who don't question narratives and don't have independent thinking. Okay, so sound. If when you listen to that, you can get a tingle through your body. It's hypnotizing you. I think the hallelujah and the way they're doing it, it's part of the mind control. I could just feel it. I had to pause it. I was like, oh, get it out. It's not because you have a demon inside you. It's because you're resistant to mind control. They'll try to tell you, oh, you've got a demon in you. That's why you don't like it, because you don't like Jesus. It's like, no, you guys are money laundering cult that's tied into the Moonies. And there's a trace that goes right through there. And you guys are brainwashing people with this hallelujah. Look at them all. They're raising their hands. It's total People's Temple. It's very similar. If you go and watch Jim Jones, he was a little more crazy, a little more. I'm sure there's lots of drugs and cocaine and stuff happening behind the scenes in this, allegedly. We can't say this, but you can watch them brainwash people. This had nothing to do with Charlie Kirk. This had to do with trauma bonding, bringing everybody together. to brainwash them, to give their money, to give their life, so they could then they've opened up tons of chapters in all the school. They're going to be sticking all of these TPS USA cults right in the schools, trying to get the youth and brainwash kids. And they might even do it in the universities. This is far more invasive than anything I've seen of late. It's like they've combined the old evangelical churches with some kind of country rock star thing and merged it together with Charlie Kirk. It's really bizarre. And they think they're talking to God, but they're just being brainwashed, and they'll give their money, their life, their time. Cults will they'll tell you what to eat. That's part of being in a cult. They start controlling things. They control how your wedding is, everything in your family, and they do it on a massive scale. It's really disturbing. And I wanted to point that out, that TPUSA Faith is a cult. It's akin to the Moonies. It's very similar. They're not performing mass weddings. They're not performing mass weddings, but they are performing a mass MK Ultra, and just like those weddings. And remember, the Moonies are, I mean, that one girl right on the thing was saying that she was culturally, they can make you think you're culturally Korean even if you're blonde hair, blue eyed. They can brainwash you into a lot of things. So all the stuff with transgender and the brainwashing on that's nothing compared to the amount of people that are being brainwashed in this. And evangelicalism and TPUSA faith is a huge problem in America, in my opinion. And the Mormon church is tied into this because a lot of people that were involved in this suspicious Charlie Kirk assassination are also Mormon. It happened in the Mormon state. I'm highly suspicious, not of regular Mormon people, but of the higher ups. It's all cult behavior. And it's really, really disturbing. And make no mistake, what's happening here in America right now, I hope it crumbles, but it is templated off of the Moonies. And the CIA is using these cult templates to control mass populations to be docile and obedient to whatever objective they want, whether it's war or trafficking or anything else, which brings us back to Jeffrey Epstein. And why is this connected? Well, they're all connected. Mossad is heavily infiltrated in this, and Jeffrey Epstein worked for Mossad. And they're always planning all these things together. Child trafficking is just one element of this. Who knows what they'll do to people within these churches, if they'll look for them and traffic. We have no idea. We know a lot of adoptions agencies are linked to this and child trafficking. There's some weird 6-degree separation, and you're all like, why? Like, I always say, why? And so some people believe at the helm of this, it's a spiritual battle. Like, this doesn't have anything to do with actual money, that it's a spiritual battle. I would say for people on here, a lot of it's about money, but all these people are actors. So why can't they get their shit? And they're really bad actors too. We couldn't see it before, and you can see it clearer now because people are talking about it. People are understanding it, and their old scripts are becoming noticeable. It's like when your cells start recognizing a virus and defending it. I think that's what we're kind of doing on this planet. But they're going to come up with, there's always people they can control and manipulate, unfortunately, because we have such a large population now. There's always going to be, and all they need is 20-30% of the population, and they send those people out everywhere. They'll send spies. If you and I start a campaign somewhere, trying to get into politics, they'll send people to spy on us and see what language we're using. They'll send people to watch this podcast, and then they'll go and start copying the language like parasites, so that if I gain any traction and people are into it, they'll say the same thing. Like, it's really crazy. They have spies. It is like, it's almost impenetrable, this little swarmy network of cults and stuff. And I can't tell you where it will end. All I can tell you is, do not go to these events. Do not let these people knock on your doors. Do not wear all of their religious logos. Do not attend their churches. Do not allow them to get you married. Just go to the justice of the peace. Do not give them money. You have worked long and hard. Do not volunteer for them. Do not do anything. You can, if you really want to give, just give someone some money on their GoFundMe that needs help, or give a homeless person some food directly. Don't go through these agencies. Don't go through these nonprofits. They're all scams. They are all money laundering. It is all dirty, and you don't know what's happening to your money once it's gone. If it's child trafficking, if it's going to war, if it's going to some rich pastor's pocket. We can go through, just look at the past. Oprah Winfrey helped them with a lot of this brainwashing with her TV show, John of God. I mean, we could go into that forever. They used to do it and it was seamless, and now it's starting to crack. But I'm sure they'll come up with much more clever ways, to hide this. But it's all linked. It's 6 degrees of separation, unfortunately, and I wouldn't give them anything. And Super Bowl is just, it's another element of bread and circuses to control people who wouldn't watch TPUSA. It's everywhere. It's like you can't avoid it. You literally have to go shut everything out and run into the woods and meditate. Like it's they make it so it's really hard for you to hear your inner voice that tells you why stuff, and they make it really hard to be silent and for you to get away from it. Impenetrable. It's depressing, but it's how it runs in this world, and it's on steroids. I would say it's probably been building for well over 100 years. Well over 100 years in this country. I think America wasn't just infiltrated recently. I think once we had to pay taxes and they invaded the currency and everything. I think that, hell, if you go back to the Civil War, that's consolidation of power. So it's been happening all along. It seems like the pattern. And I guess in order to control, when you have large parts of, if you have large masses of population, this is the way you control them, is through these mass. I don't know what people get out of this. I don't know what kind of weird connection people get out of being in a massive stadium full of people. They have zero, like, that they're all just standing there going, it's bizarre. It is bizarre. So, yeah, and I mean, even the Olympics, I mean, it's everywhere. They're like, even the Olympics, it does look, it's weird how they've made it look like an upside down, like the Israeli flag thing, and a molecular atom, and the Eye of Sauron all at once, and DNA. Like, it's weird how they've done this design. They've got a whole bunch of things going on in here over at the Olympics. Cultish, weird behavior. And it's all of its goals, whether it's Epstein or anything like that, it's all for a global outcome of power, constantly consolidating power. And same with the religious. They want a global religion. There'll be different factions. It'll speak different languages all over, but it's going to be some kind of Judeo-Christian, Zionist, creepy utopia. And I use Candace as an example. Candace is in the Catholic Church, and she, she thinks things that I think are not factual or really silly as well about religion. So I don't always agree with her, but she's on the money with the Moonies, linked to TPUSA, and TPUSA faith being Moonies 2.0. And unfortunately, there's a lot of young people who are going to be taken in by this, and it's going to be far more damaging than the Jim Jones kickoff. The Jim Jones cult. Okay, so kickoff is coming. I'll probably have some reels and shorts and stuff uploaded during the week from this episode, so you can watch out for that. Be sure to subscribe to the channel. You can also subscribe to the other channel. That is at Breaking Ground 50. And of course, everything is at the website, theclusterfuck.com. I can't believe I got that URL. It's hilarious. So everything, all the links are there. I'll probably do a page for the alternate channel in the coming week. Next Sunday, by request of a viewer in the comments, we are going to talk about Ram Dass. Ram Dass is a spiritual leader from the 60s. We're going to talk about him. And then, because of popular request about vampires, I suppose we should talk a little bit about vampire. Maybe we'll revisit the adrenochrome. I'll find some vampiric stuff and we'll do that for the second half. So please join me next Sunday. It is going to be at 5 p.m. Eastern. 5 p.m. Eastern. And we did some decent numbers, growing numbers, considering everybody's probably getting ready for that Super Bowl right now. Go for a walk. Go play with your dog. Don't let them to control your mind. Listen to something that you enjoy, because this shit, whether it's TPUSA's halftime with Kid Rock or, the Super Bowl halftime kickoff stuff, it's all meant to control your mind. I know it feels like you're connecting with people, but it's just so bizarre. I don't get anything out of it. I don't think I ever have. I'd rather go for a hike or a walk, and who knows? I think I'll probably just go do laundry today, but I thank you guys for showing up. We're going to tie it up, so because I know that kickoff's going to happen and everyone's energy, they're going to suck you all into their football loosh. I just know it. So please continue to join me as we talk about cults and positive things. I'm going to mention positive things you can do as well, which of course, if you go to my website, you'll know that we have to observe and not absorb. We have to definitely find the positive. And of course, we'll have this uploaded by tonight or tomorrow onto all the audio podcasts. And yeah, I think that's it. I think that's all we're going to discuss with those Moonies and Epstein. I mean, they've only released half the files on Epstein, so more is going to come out. You can bet. But remember, observe, don't absorb, don't let it take you down, don't become it, shake it off and go for a walk and think of not just positive things, but just try to be calm. Calmness is where the voice of wisdom really comes from, and you don't need to join churches. You don't need to do crazy stuff in order to get that calm. You just have to, bring your adrenaline, all that stuff to a stable position. Meditation, walking, folding your towels, whatever it is. Thanks, Jonaside. Have fun with the game. I won't be watching it, but I understand why people do. All right, guys, I'm going to sign off, and I will see you next Sunday for the Ram Dass Show. It's Sunday afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the cluster. It is time to navigate through this giant cluster. You know what? I will be live with you in just 1 minute. So in the meantime, please feel free to support the channel by subscribing and giving this video a thumbs up.